Welcome to the Jet Set Hers podcast. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jamie. We discuss travel, adventure, and everyday life. Listen with us and let's go somewhere.
Hi.
Yo, Jenny, what's up?
I'm just excited that we're back. We promised you a new interview, and here it is. Her name is Kati, and she was just really amazing. And we're just excited for you to hear all the information that she shared with us.
Yeah, you guys, we just can't wait for everyone to hear. So short and sweet, we can't wait. Here's Kati. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Hi, excited to introduce today's guest. This is Kaitlyn, and she's just an overall adventurer, I'd say. And so we're going to hear about her adventures and learn about the Adirondack Park in New York. Hi, Kaitlyn.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
We're excited. And I'm really excited because I think I see a beer over there. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Burley Beard Oatmeal Stout from Northway Brewing Co. Northway Brewing Co. is in Queensbury, New York, which is just south of the Adirondack Park, but the Northway is one of the main roads that brings you into the Adirondack Park. So I consider it an Adirondack beer.
That's
Nice.
very fitting for today's episode.
Can you say the name one more time? I love it. It's so good.
Burley Beard Oatmeal Stout. Straight lumberjack.
Oh my
And there's a
gosh.
lumberjack on the can, so.
Nice little fire going.
And what's the
Cozy.
percentage?
Oh, that's a good question. 6.5.
Okay.
That's a sturdy man. Sturdy beer.
I am a stout drinker. So
Nice. Do you taste the oatmeal?
yeah.
Nice. Stouts are so flavorful. I can indulge like every once in a while because they're just so flavorful. They're so nice to have every once in a while.
Yeah. They can get creative with them.
Yeah, we're definitely IPA drinkers over here, but like if I go to a brewery, I like to get a flight so I can try not just their IPAs, try a little bit of everything, and then
My fiance is a big IPA person, and I am stouts. That is it.
Nice.
know
That's
what you
strictly
like.
me too. So
Jamie, what are you sipping on?
well, I have to go with the all-time favorite. I saw it today when I was at Whole Foods. I was going to find something fun, but Zombie Dust, 3 Floyds, Zombie Dust. I'm rocking it. You haven't seen the can, Kaitlyn, but it's super fun. It's a zombie. 6.5 hazy IPA. You know
It's good when it's like a repeat on the podcast. So
You know it.
It's a regular.
Yeah, literally it's a regular. So we have to ask you, Jenny, now what you sipping on?
So I've had some beer in my fridge for a while. I had some friends bring me, like, I want to say at the end of the summer. So it's kind of a while ago. But this is from Washington State, a brewery called Grains of Wrath. And I did go there when I visited. It's really a solid brewery. And this is their Dystopia. And it's an IPA. It's very piney, very hoppy. It's very good. 6.75%.
Nice. We're all around the 6.5ers today. Okay.
So this will
Same
be fun.
wavelength.
It's gonna be a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
So cheers, ladies.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
So let's just start out. Introduce yourself.
All right. So my name is Kaitlyn. I go by Katie. I live in central New York. I grew up though on Long Island, so down by New York City, and moved here after graduating from college. And I'm a teacher. I teach middle school and high school physical education, but mostly middle school. I coach a couple sports seasons, so my kids keep me busy.
Oh yeah.
But I pretty much live for the weekends. I live an hour-ish from the Adirondack Park in New York, so that's my kind of every weekend that I possibly can escape to nature. Keep me sane from my middle school kiddos.
Right. What do you coach?
In the fall, I coach cross country. In the winter, I coach volleyball. And in the spring, I coach track and field.
Wow.
Busy lady.
Very busy lady. Yes.
I can see why you live for the weekends.
Oh, yeah. And even some weekends, it's like, well, got to coach this weekend. So no exciting adventures will be happening.
Yeah. An hour away too. That's pretty manageable. So that's nice.
Yep, it's awesome. Hour away to get to the south part of the park. If you want to get up to like the taller mountains, 2.5, 3, but that's even fine for the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you go and like stay overnight for the weekend?
A lot of times, yes. If we go up north further, we'll get a hotel room, or if it's nice weather, we'll camp. We actually have plans this weekend to like half camp, half stay in an uninsulated building with our friends. So it'll be chilly, but we will survive.
Nice.
What's the
Yeah.
weather like right now?
We got a huge snowstorm this past weekend.
Right.
As did we. I'm in
She got,
Michigan.
yeah.
Yes. We
Yes.
got over a foot of snow here in central New York. So up in the Adirondacks, especially northern Adirondacks, I bet it was more. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting, but it's been in the negatives for like 2 weeks. And now we're in the 20s this whole week, steady 20s. So
I mean, that's warm compared to negative, so
exactly.
Warmer
So
than last week.
I
yeah.
think we'll be okay.
I never thought I would have said that being from Florida, but I literally have said, "Oh wow, it's in the 20s today. It's so nice." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"What is wrong with me?" But it's totally different in the sun. So
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And if you're moving, it feels much warmer.
And I'm sure you know how to wear clothes that are, going to make sure that you stay warm because you're a professional at this point.
Yes, big professional layer because I get cold quickly. Some people they're so hardy. I'm like, I don't know how I am not this hardy, but I have to layer very well and wear heated socks to stay warm.
ooh,
With the little hand warmers in your boots.
Yeah, I actually own a pair of socks that have like a little battery pack on the side. Amazing. Charge it. It'll heat your toes for like 8+ hours. So when I go snowboarding, I have to wear them.
That's a game changer.
Mm-hmm. I don't
You've
think
been
I would
doing
be
this
able
a
to
while.
snowboard without them.
Right.
So it kind of seems like your life just overall is all about adventure, whether it's like coaching sports or hiking in the mountains. Where did that love come from?
Oh gosh. Well, I've always been an athlete. So I grew up playing sports, but obviously down on Long Island, there's no mountains or real hiking to be had. So I kind of grew up a beach bum, spent all of my summers, boogie boarding, body boarding at the beach, and then playing sports. So that's always like a little adventure in and of itself. You go to a game, who are we going to play? How are we going to win? What's it going to be like? Then in college, I went to SUNY Cortland to study phys ed, and part of the program requirements was to complete an outdoor education course for educators. So you take that in the summer between your junior and senior year, and it is a 2-week course that you have to go up into the Adirondacks for, and you stay at a camp that actually SUNY Cortland owns.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was my first like real Adirondack experience. That was super adventurous. I actually grew up going up to the Adirondacks to stay at a family member's house, but never knew that I was in the Adirondacks or that it was this big park or, all the fun things I could have done there. We just kind of did like the boat life and tubed and jet skied and all that stuff. So this course was my real like crash course into hiking, camping, adventure. You spend a week in camp, like learning all the hard skills, how to set up camp, how to cook in the wilderness. We do a high ropes course and learn about like leave no trace and just the Adirondacks in general. And then the second week, they basically send you out with a guide, like with another teacher from the college who's done it in the past, but they are your guide. And you go out for a 5-day backpacking trip. So it's pretty intense for people who are not outdoorsy in the slightest.
Yeah.
I had friends like, I'm not going to be able to straighten my hair for 5 whole days, so it's a little bit of a shock to some people, but I loved every second of it. And since that class, that's been like my go-to for what's going to make me feel better. I'm going to go outside, I'm going to plan a trip, going to go for a hike, whatever it may be.
I love
No
that.
doubt. That sounds like an awesome class though, honestly.
Yes. It's awesome. There's definitely a lot of things about it that are kind of, annoying. Like if you have a summer job, you have to be like, hey, can you give me 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer for my class? And coming from Long Island, it's a long drive. It's like 8 hours. So
Wow.
it's a big planning, and you have to bring a lot of gear with you that a lot of people don't have. So it can be expensive, but it's a really awesome class, and definitely kind of pushed me in the path that I've been on as an adult. So I'm super
Right.
thankful for it.
Wow.
And that, I mean, you had to buy the gear, but then you have the gear to like go and do it more leisurely and not so probably strict.
Exactly. Yep. And I have a bunch of friends now that are like, you have gear from this class, so you have to come with me. You have no excuse.
They're like,
You learned all the
my hair
skills.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Straighten your hair beforehand, you'll be okay.
Right. It'll be really matted and dirty by the end. It's fine.
Oh yeah. I wore my hair in a braid for 5 days straight. I would take it out, brush it with my fingers, and then put it back into a braid.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. Just do braids. It's the easiest. Braids on a trip like that, easiest. Got to.
Yep. I'm a braid lady. Through and through.
That's awesome. That's kind of why I moved to Colorado, is to get more hiking and more in the mountains. Definitely not at your level yet, but it like makes your soul feel better. Just being outside, being in the mountains, all of it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some of your adventures, because looking at your blog, which is awesome, people should check it out. You visit a lot of national parks. So do you have like a favorite? Do you have any like insane stories you remember?
Well, so my fiance and I are both teachers. So we kind of plan our whole summer break around like, what is our big adventure going to be this year? And for the last couple of years, it's been some type of national park road trip. And we've done a combination of like flying to Utah and then renting a car for 3 weeks to do the trip. And then last summer, we actually drove ourselves, across the country to Wyoming and back for 23 days. And that was super fun as well. I'm trying to think of which. Oh, it's so hard. I would say that our Utah trip was pretty neat. It was awesome. We flew out to Salt Lake City, actually with my best friend from college. The three of us rented a car and just did a 17-day loop around, hit all 5 parks, slept outside pretty much every day. We were grimy dirtbags and it was amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, but then Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons this past summer. I don't know that I've ever been to a park with like more of a wow factor than the Grand Tetons. Like it's insane. And then Yellowstone is definitely less of like an initial wow factor, but all the different aspects of the park that you can experience, it's just so cool that so many different things are in one place.
I'm amazed.
Dang.
And the Utah one, that's how you have to do it, because there's so much amazing things to see in southern Utah. You can't just like go for a few days.
No,
that's right.
I think that's what my fiance and I argue about the most. I'm like, no, we need 3 whole weeks for this trip. He's like, can we do it in 10 days? No, 3 weeks. We can't miss anything.
Yeah, I feel like if you just do one park or then like 2 parks, you'd feel like that you missed out.
Yes, right? You can, and
yeah.
There's still so many things like at a park that I'm like, well, we didn't get to do this hike. We have to go back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And you can't just like pass a sign that says Arches National Park and be like, oh, dang, too bad we didn't have time.
Right. Like, you can't do that. And now he wants to go back to Utah so badly because he's a big mountain biker. Last year, he got me into mountain biking. I am not at his level, but I do enjoy it. And he wants to mountain bike in Moab. And I'm like, all right, back to Utah we go.
Yeah.
I have a friend actually from Michigan that moved out to Salt Lake City with his girlfriend, and he goes climbing in Moab all the time. Mm-hmm. I see pictures and they're actually just incredible, fantastic. He goes climbing like right when the sun's coming up. I'm like, goodness. And he's a photographer at the same time. So it's just incredible. I'm like, dude, goodbye. Just look off of you. I gotta go.
I'm so sick. We spent 4 days there when we were on our trip. We actually stayed at the Lazy Lizard Hostel. We got like this cheap little cabin at the hostel for the 3 of us. It was air conditioned, amazing in the summer for Moab. And we did like 2 different days in Canyonlands, a day in Arches. And there's still so much, not national park stuff that we could do. So
yeah,
definitely a neat town, cool place to go, place you have to go back to.
Yeah, I was born in Utah. My family lives there. So as a kid, my grandpa would take us down to southern Utah. And so I've been to Arches and all that, but I wasn't old enough to like really understand what I was seeing. So that's one of my goals for the next year or 2 is to like go do what you did and like Do a loop.
Yeah, definitely do a loop. And there's just, it's once you get to Moab, like from Salt Lake, everything's fairly close to each other within an hour, hour and a half drive. So you're not wasting a lot of time in the car. You have a ton of time to do things. So that's kind of neat about the bottom. Getting to and from Salt Lake takes a hot minute, but the
Once
rest of
you're
it is
down.
pretty nice.
Doesn't feel like you're traveling too far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it's definitely on my list for sure.
I would highly suggest that. There's just so much. And you can do it realistically, really inexpensively. Like we slept outside, we did some free camping, even to camp like in the national parks, it's $25 a night. So you can stay for 4 nights in a national park for what one hotel room would realistically cost you.
For one night. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's a better experience.
Oh yeah. Sleeping under the stars.
The stars,
in
right.
Canyon, sick. It's just we like saw the Milky Way like really for the first time ever in Capitol Reef. And the 3 of us were like, wow.
I feel like if you're not camping and sleeping outside, you're doing it wrong. Like for sure. 100% you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that you went to Banff, and that's always been like one of my top favorite.
That's also on my top list too. It was a different trip. I went with my cousin and we booked a tour. So we weren't really sure. It was really my first like international trip by myself and my first like wanting to be outdoorsy trip that I wasn't driving myself to and had all my gear for. So I really didn't know how to go about it. So we booked a tour through this company called Moose Tours, go figure, Canada, Moose. And it was awesome because they actually like reserved your room at a hostel for every night of your trip. And then you also obviously were on this bus. So like to go from place to place, you didn't have to worry about driving. You got to just enjoy the sights, and they stopped in multiple places between like city and city or town and town. And then having the hostel booked for you ahead of time was just awesome because you would get there and be like, cool, here's my $20 and thank you for my bed. So It was awesome and well worth like the money spent, and the tour guides were knowledgeable about everything we were doing. So that was a cool way to see Banff for someone who was like just getting into the traveling to see outdoorsy things.
Right. It wasn't just like an hour away.
Exactly. I was like, all right, now I know how to better go about my California trip, my Utah trip, because that was a nice little icebreaker.
Did they supply like gear for you?
So they didn't supply gear, but we slept at a hostel every night. So we didn't need to have like a tent or anything.
Right.
We just kind of packed, like I packed obviously my backpack and all my hiking essentials, but they also stopped along the way at like supermarkets so you can grab loaves of bread, peanut butter, jelly, whatever food you wanted to cook at the hostel to also pack while you were hiking. So that was really cool. And then we just tacked on a couple of days at the end so we could do, whatever we wanted.
Is it as beautiful in person?
Absolutely.
I was afraid of that.
Absolutely. The pictures, honestly, like the pictures are amazing. So to say they don't do it justice would be a lie. They do it justice. It looks amazing. But it is just as beautiful, if not more, than the photos.
I want to say that was one of my first background images. Like I just Google searched images and it was of like the blue water in the mountains.
Yeah.
And that was before
perfect.
That was before I knew about travel really. And I was just like, that's so cool. But then once I got into travel, I was like, that's what I've had on my computer background for like years and years. So
it's so cool. It's so worth it. Definitely worth it to go. And I mean, you can camp for sure. If I went back, we've talked about for our honeymoon, actually like buying a van and then road tripping across Canada.
Yeah.
And
that'd be a
then
good way to
we
do
would
it.
Obviously sleep outside. We joke all the time, like we want to get a van. And I'm like, but can we still bring the tent so that I can sleep actually outside?
Right. Of course.
Yeah. The van's convenient, but if it's nice weather, I want to sleep under the stars.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost when you need some kind of like pull out on the back where you're still kind of connected to the van, but not.
Right.
Right.
Like a pull out bed but at the end in the back.
That would be amazing. Comfort of a bed under the stars.
I feel like it's possible. I had a friend that had like I think it was like a Honda SUV and it had like a table that would pull out. Like it only had two legs and the others like just sat on the tail of
Mhm.
the, so it's a thing. We'll make it.
Well, have you guys seen those things that they go on the back of just hatchback sedans now, or even like on a truck? It's like a tent. You can like put it on the back of your hatchback or the cab of your truck, and
Mhm.
like it's got two levels. You can even like climb up it and shit. It's actually really neat.
Yes. Well,
And
we
it's like a hybrid idea of kind of what you
yeah.
want.
When we stayed in the Grand Tetons, we stayed there for a week at just a free campsite with like gorgeous views of the Tetons. And one of the setups next to us, like we were just in a camp, we were just camping in a tent with our friends actually that met us out there. And the setup next to us had this sick, like multi-level car tent with like a
Yes.
changing room and a kitchen underneath. I'm like, wow, wild.
Yeah, some of them are just extravagant, but yeah,
Yeah.
dude clearly has been doing this a while. But I think those are really neat because
Yeah.
it's like it combines both. Like you don't really have to have like a big vehicle or a van, but you can still kind of do the outside.
Exactly. Yeah, this was a family too. So their two tiers were like mom, dad, the two
Insane.
kids. Yeah.
Okay,
Like all
mind
the little
blown.
camp chairs. It was wild. I'm like, you guys know how to do it.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
right.
The whole
From the
camping,
professional,
glamping thing has evolved quite a
it
bit.
really has though.
So much. But hey, there's so many cool things you could do. And then there's really like no excuse for someone to not get out there, right?
None.
Right. So let's focus back on what clearly is your motivation for adventure and your main love, the Adirondack Park.
Oh gosh. The Adirondack Park. It is so amazing and so overlooked, I think, or people just don't know about it because they are not from the East Coast or New York. So they don't realize that New York has this massive 6 million acre protected space that's full of adventures of all types. There's a statistic that cracks me up. It is so the Adirondacks is the largest protected area in the lower 48. And
Oh
then
wow.
it's bigger than Yellowstone, the Everglades, and Grand Canyon National Park all put together.
Oh
That's
wow.
insane.
Yes. And it receives more visitors per year than the Grand Canyon.
But it's not technically a national park, which is crazy.
It's not. It's a state park. It's huge. And there's so many towns and people who are like full-time residents in there, schools, everything. So I feel like it would be difficult to make such a large space a national park, but
True.
it's so amazing. And I'm so glad that my college class kind of introduced me to it. And then since then, one of my big things when I was applying for teaching jobs was like, I gotta be close to the mountains for my sanity. So it was perfect when I got this job. I'm about an hour away from Old Forge, which is one of the southernmost towns. It's like the foothills of the Adirondacks, and they have a ton of hiking, mountain biking, cross-country skiing, alpine skiing and snowboarding, paddling, like you name it, it's there. They actually have a water park. It's the largest water park in New York State. Go figure.
Oh wow.
Is
Yeah,
it
right.
indoor?
No, it's outside, so it's seasonal.
Right. That's crazy.
But my middle school, actually, we take our kids on a field trip there like at the end of the school year in June. So when I first got my job and they were like, oh yeah, we go to Enchanted Forest Water Safari for a field trip at the end of the school year, I was like, what?
Like, okay.
We're gonna bring all these middle schoolers to a water park? Are we crazy? But yes, it's awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah, so it's really neat. Tons of stuff an hour away, and then trillions of towns sprinkled throughout. We're actually getting married in one of them in October.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're getting
Yes.
married at Oak Mountain. It's in Speculator. It's a ski and snowboarding place, and we mountain bike there too. So we're excited to get married there. But that's a really small town.
how perfect. How natural for you guys.
I know, right? We went to go see it, and we were like, "Oh, this is it! All of our guests, they're taking the ski lift. Forget about them. If they don't want to, they can stay at the bottom. They'll miss the ceremony."
Right.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's sweet. And then the northern Adirondacks are home to the Adirondack High Peaks. So there's 46 4,000 footers, and I've been chipping away at them since that class I'm finally in my single digits, but I'm not really in any rush to finish them since we usually go like out of state all summer. So I kind of just get them in whenever. And then Lake Placid was also home to 2 Winter Olympic Games. So they have a lot of different Winter Olympic museum. You can bobsled, you can go to the ski jumps. Whiteface Mountain is where they did all of like the alpine skiing and slalom and all that fun stuff. And that's a great little ski resort as well. So there's really just so much to do there. And it's so beautiful in so many different ways. I feel really lucky to live so close to it and know it so well, since so many people don't even know that it exists, I guess.
Absolutely.
Right. Is that the same Lake Placid as like the movie?
Well, there's a Lake Placid movie that's about Lake Placid in Florida
Oh, it's in,
with the alligator.
yeah. How would I not know that? That was a really stupid question.
I was gonna say,
I
that's
didn't know
Florida.
that.
And alligators are not, and I should realize they're not New York.
They're not. So
But I'm from Florida, so it must be made up. It must be a made up town.
here's a funny story though. When I first started going to the Adirondacks, I had remembered seeing that movie, and I was like,
Wait,
there
but there are mountains in the movie, and there are no mountains in Florida.
oh, I really thought it was Florida.
I wonder if they
Maybe I'm
combined
just
Maybe
it.
it's a
thinking Florida because it
combination.
had a
Yeah.
crocodile in it. I don't know.
Right.
Oh wait, no, it
exactly.
isn't Florida, because that's the whole shocker, is that like, how did this creature get here? Because it's somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it
That's
is.
so funny.
Hybrid of both of them.
In
Whatever.
honor of Betty White. Talking about
Right.
like Placid.
So I guess what I didn't realize is that there's actually like towns inside of there.
Yeah. A couple
That's
of
so
them.
cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
think
so-
a lot of people forget how large New York State is, because
Yeah.
everyone just focuses on the city.
Yeah.
There's so
And then
much
you said-
land mass.
6 million acres.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's just, my mind can't even wrap anything around that.
Yeah,
So-
so many, like New York looks small on the map, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you have to compare it to all the other like Northeast states, like next to Vermont and New Hampshire and Connecticut. Like they're all
Right.
small.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
There is so much in New York that people really just don't, they think city, there's tons of farmland. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Ithaca, New York, but it's near where I went to college. And it's all like gorges and waterfalls. It's so beautiful. And then there's also the Catskills in lower New York, kind of much closer to the city, which is mountainous and beautiful. So there's just so much to it. And a lot of people don't realize it. So as much as it would be nice to live out west, but New York's not a bad spot to be.
Especially
No, not
where
at
you're
all.
at.
Right.
Yeah, right? The upper area.
Yeah. And that's me. I'm people. I had no idea. So
I'm
when you
the-
refer to people, that's me. I'm people.
It's okay.
I've seen that a lot lately too, where it'll be pictures of like really nice like waterfalls and really cool hikes. And it's like, where is this? And it's New York, like upper New York.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
Very cool.
Definitely feel lucky to be in New York and to have experienced and hiked a lot of those trails.
So you only have a few of those tall mountains left to hike?
I have 9 left.
Ooh.
Yep, I have 9.
And it was 46, so
It's
that's
46
impressive.
of them. I have a couple of repeats as well. Like we just hiked one a couple weeks ago that I've already hiked, but why not? I'm not in
Like
a
you
rush.
said, no rush.
Exactly. I'll finish them eventually. I'd like to finish them sooner because then I can start chipping away at there's the Northeast 111. So that includes Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine's 4,000 footers. So it would be nice to finish New York and then move on to the rest.
Wow.
Yeah.
First and foremost, wow.
And it's pretty cool that your childhood was more about like the leisure side of what the park had to offer. Like you were saying, like boating, tubing, but
Yeah.
as an adult, you've like completely 360'd that.
Yeah,
Got
I'm a
more
go,
adventure.
go person.
Yeah.
Big time. Relaxing is difficult for me.
I mean, I'm lazy sometimes, but if it's hiking or if it's traveling, I don't like to just sit. I like to let me see as much as I can in my time.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
where we're going, we might as well enjoy all of it. I
Mhm.
have a break coming up in 2 weeks from school, and I usually go with the girls that I coach volleyball with. We go on like an end of season trip, and we normally go somewhere tropical, like all-inclusive style, like lazy vacation. And they definitely fall into that more like, cool, I'm here to relax. And for the sake of this trip, I can tone it down. But I'm always like, okay, we're going to go on one excursion, right? What are we going to do? What's it going to be? Like, what fun are we going to have?
Right.
I'm like in the pool doing like jazzercise and they're just laying, sipping a cocktail.
Sunbathing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm like, if I don't move, I'm going to lose my mind. So I'm a little crazy like that, but it's fun.
I like it. It's your life.
Yeah,
Your
that's right up my
adventure
alley.
I get to
Yeah.
do fun things.
I mean, you've done over 45 plus of these mountain hikes, so it's crazy.
Yes, so many of them.
Are there any other like little tips or tricks you want to tell anyone about the parks? Like if they're gonna plan a trip, maybe the best town to stay in, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If someone was looking to travel to the Adirondacks, I think they need to really hone in on what they're looking for. So I talked about Old Forge, and Old Forge to me is just a super family friendly town for a variety of outdoor recreation opportunities. So if you have little kids and you want to get them into mountain biking or get them into skiing, snowboarding, or hiking, it's a really a good place to bring them. The trails there for hiking are gorgeous with beautiful payoffs, but they're shorter, not a ton of elevation gain. You know, the mountain there is super like small town vibes, but awesome skiing as well. And it's super inexpensive. The mountain biking as well. There's like a little bike park, as well as all of the trails and places to rent that are affordable. So if you're traveling as a family, especially with small children, and it's going to be maybe like their first time getting into some of these activities, I would say Old Forge is a great spot. Tons of affordable accommodations. There's multiple like free camping opportunities. And then water safari is always a good little treat for little kids. They all want to go to a water park. So that's that's super fun. For somebody looking to have a more leisurely vacation in the Adirondacks, maybe they want to rent a boat or just kind of chill. Lake George is a very popular area. The lake is huge, tons of rentals there, and there is hiking to be had and skiing, snowboarding. It's just more low key, I think. As far as like leisure is concerned, more people go there to kind of just sit back and relax. And then there's also a mountain, Prospect Mountain, that you can hike, which I have done, but you can drive up it.
Mm.
And then you get to experience all those gorgeous views of the lake and the surrounding mountains with little effort.
That's always a nice recommendation, especially for people that maybe can't hike so
Exactly.
much.
Yep. It's and it's a tough trail to hike. So driving it might be a good option. Lake Placid and like the Keene Valley area is definitely where I would suggest like true adventurers to go to. That's where all the tall mountains are. There's tons of rock climbing there. You know, if you know where to look, that's not my forte or something that I do, but tons of opportunities for that there. There's definitely mountain biking, downhill skiing, snowboarding, cross country skiing. And then the town of Lake Placid is just such an awesome little mountain town. It has those Olympic vibes from when it hosted the Olympics. And if you get a day where there's bad weather or maybe super negative temps and you don't want to go outside, there are a lot of really cool Olympic opportunities for you, as far as, you know, the Herbrook Arena for hockey. You can ice skate as well. You can ice skate on Mirror Lake, on like an Olympic oval, or inside the arena there, all within a half mile of each other. There's a lot to do in Lake Placid. And honestly, families that are adventurous, Lake Placid would be a great option as well. It's just a little more pricey than, let's say, like an Old Forge, but there's so much to do there. And it's definitely my go-to area of the Adirondacks if I'm looking for like a full weekend of adventures. I usually just go to Old Forge if I'm going for a day, or if I'm going to camp with some friends and hike one day and bike the next day, then that's all right. But Lake Placid is the adventurers area to be.
So your spot.
That would be my choice. Lake George is beautiful. I've really been like once, It's nice. I hiked there's a Lake George 12-ster challenge there. So just 12 mountains in the Lake George area. Now that I've hiked them all, I do not have to go back.
You've seen what you came to see.
Exactly. The Adirondacks, like each town has their own little hiking challenge. So that's really neat too. So the Old Forge challenge is 3 smaller mountains. So that's like great for a family to go
That's
have a
really
cache
cool.
together.
And it's
Yeah.
achievable, right?
Yep. 3. I've done them all in one day multiple times. So they're, I'm not saying a family would do them all in one day, but they're definitely easier.
But if dad needed to escape for a minute, totally doable.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
I'm going to change that if mom needs to escape for a day.
She's
Yeah,
like,
there
get
you go.
out. You take them to the water park. I'm going hiking.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now I really want to go. But I don't know if I want to go in the winter or summer. I'm more of a summer.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never skied. I haven't skied yet, even though I live here now. But
If
Summer
you-
first, winter second. Sorry.
Yeah. If you had the opportunity to come in October, that would
the
be
best.
that would be prime time because the temperature is perfect. And in the first 2 weeks of October, you can almost guarantee fall foliage.
That's my time to take
Oh.
vacation too. I usually take the first 2 weeks of October off. So
Yep. It
We'll
is.
Jenny.
meet in New York.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. If you come, let me know. I will be a tour guide. I
Yeah.
love it.
Heck yeah.
It's hard because coaching cross country, I usually spend every Saturday, all day at a cross country invite. But I also tell the varsity coaches, because I'm the modified coach, I'm always like, I'm taking this weekend off because I'm camping for the whole weekend in the fall foliage.
Right.
So
Very important.
yes, that's definitely prime time. It is a busy time to be there. Prices are definitely a little higher in the fall because they know so many people want to come.
It's
But
worth
really,
it, though. Yeah.
really worth it. It's so beautiful.
Because Florida doesn't get fall. And so my first move from Florida was to Massachusetts. I lived on Cape for a little bit. And I would bike to work. And I remember coming around the corner one day in fall, and everything was just neon orange. And I was like, what is this? It's so pretty. And Colorado has nice fall compared to Florida, but New England fall was incredible.
Growing up, I didn't realize it was different. I didn't realize places didn't have fall.
Yeah.
That's
I
how
don't know
was.
if I could go back to not having fall. It's my favorite.
Right.
I know, I love it.
Yeah.
The seasons, man.
You gotta live for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it's more
Spring's the worst one.
rainy. Allergies come back.
Mm-hmm.
Our fall is more aspens. It's more yellow based, whereas I feel like New England has the rich orange and reds that I love.
Yeah,
Pink.
that would be my suggestion for anybody who's like, oh, I'm coming to the Adirondacks. I'm gonna make it there once. First 2 weeks of October.
Nice.
I'm down.
Sure.
I feel like the temperature is probably perfect too. It's cool enough to hike where you're not just
Campfires.
dying. Yeah, perfect for a bonfire.
It's perfect. Daytime temps are oh, I'm in this light, I don't know, light long sleeve or hoodie, and I'm okay. At night, maybe I'm gonna throw my puffy on, but I'm sitting by a fire, so it's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that is.
that's perfect for me.
Oh, my favorite temperatures.
So I feel like you are a traveler, even though your travel is a little bit different because you're looking for adventure in your travels. But do you have a big bucket list destination?
Oh gosh, it's so hard because I think I have several bucket list destinations.
Same.
Yeah. I would love to check out Southeast Asia and do that whole thing, backpack it, hostel it, whatever, enjoy it. I would love to make my way to New Zealand at some point and do
Same.
that as well. But then a big dream is just South America. I want to backpack South America so bad. And that's one I cannot convince the fiance to get on board with because he grew up in Western New York, small, tiny little town. And he has only ever left the country to go to Canada, but not to go to Banff and go on an adventure, to go watch a Blue Jays game in Toronto. So, and I grew up.
I can relate.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up traveling. We went to stay in all-inclusives a lot as a family. I've been to Europe, a couple of times. So not to say that feels normal to me because it's obviously a luxury and I feel grateful to have that opportunity. but it's scary to him to go to South America. You know, he's like, but what if, but what if, but what if? I'm like, well, those are all things that absolutely could happen. But I went to Stockholm, Sweden for 9 days and survived, so we'll be okay.
Right. No, I feel like you absolutely have to, because I could totally see you guys hiking like to Machu Picchu and like all that.
Yes, I want to just go do that so badly. But then we're such, you know, we also want to see the US. So everyone keeps saying like, oh, what are you guys going to do for your honeymoon? Are you going to do something epic? And part of us says like, yeah, let's do an epic trip. But then another part of us says like, well, let's use some of the money we'd put towards a honeymoon to buy a van. And then we could do a pretty cheap trip across the United States and Canada and kind of see a whole bunch of really nice stuff. So,
which would equally be as epic.
Right? It would be as epic. It would just be
It's a different epic, yeah.
in the
Exactly.
US epic, as opposed to out of the US epic.
For
That's
sure.
something we focused on the podcast, like starting it was like, oh, it's all international, Europe, Asia, everything. But we've had a lot of guests that mainly focus on exploring America, and it kind of made me appreciate like we have a lot of amazing things here to see.
Yeah.
We
There's
do.
so much beauty here. And not to say there's not a whole heck ton of beauty elsewhere,
Right.
but it's hard to
It's a lot more achievable in our backyard though.
Yeah. Right. It feels easier. I feel like we've talked too about like going to Europe for a summer and just being there for the summer, because once you're there, you know, flights are cheap, hop on a train,
Yep.
even nice hotels
Yeah.
are less expensive than they are here.
hmm
I feel like that's the way to do it. Like go to Europe once, see all the places you want to see, and then come home.
Right. What time of year are you getting married?
October. Gotta go with the fall foliage.
Well, we might have snowed then. I was gonna
Yes.
say Colorado has some really great hiking and stuff. You guys can come here.
I know.
Let me know if you do.
We're gonna save our honeymoon for summer 23 because we
Okay.
can't really take time off as teachers. We are given our time off, so that is our time off. So we do have a lot of time to figure out what we're gonna do, but probably go the road trip route
Right.
and make our
Definitely.
families sad because they want us to go like to Hawaii or something.
Right. There is some really great hiking in Hawaii too, though.
Yes, I've been to Hawaii, not to be adventurous because I went with family and they were more like loungy and we did cool stuff. Don't get me wrong, but so I did mention that. I'm like, oh, we could go be adventurous in Hawaii.
So, do you want to tell everyone how they can find you and find all this information we've talked about?
Sure. You can find my blog at www.expeditioneducationblog.com. And then once you get there, there's so many different options, heavy on the Adirondack Park specifics, and then also a whole national park area that I haven't even updated from this past summer, but I'm working on it little by little. And then they can also find me on Instagram if they would like at Kaitlyn4TA. Share all my adventures there as well, tips for hiking, suggestions for hiking trails. So it's kind of the two places that I share all of my information on.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today. I feel like we learned a lot, and like we say this every episode, but we have to go there now. Safe to say. The first 2 weeks of October.
Add it to the list.
It's on the list. And we'll let you know so you can be our tour guide.
Yes, let me be your tour guide. Anybody listening, I'll be your tour guide. Just let me know.
You'd have to be patient with us, though. I feel like we'd have to take breaks here and there. And you can just do laps around us. Yeah.
I can
Novice.
be patient.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you again so much. And we'll have to keep updated on your wedding and everything. We'll have to hear more about that.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you again so much to Katie for coming on. I've heard of the Adirondacks, but I literally knew absolutely nothing about it. And so it was just really cool to learn and realize that it's somewhere I really need to visit ASAP. And quick little fact check. As you heard, we kind of got way off topic talking about like Placid the movie. And so I had to look it up because I was curious. And it takes place in a fictional town based in Maine. So we were both wrong.
So thanks, Lake Placid. It has nothing to do with either of the actual Lake Placids.
So, but you know, now I know.
Yeah, we just had a fact check because we thought it was kind of funny. We were laughing about it. Just want to say thanks again to Kati for coming on the show. We wish you and your fiance an awesome wedding day come October 2022, and can't wait to actually have a hike and beer in person. So again, thanks, because it was a wonderful time.
Yeah, and we will tag her and post all of her stuff on their socials like we do.
At Jet Set Hers Pod.
And if you want to send us an email, you want to say hi, you want to be a guest, you know someone that wants to be a guest, anything.
jetsethers@gmail.
And because you're obviously still here with us, you love us, go on, give us that good rate, give us that good review.
You know what to do. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.